Hello, I'm Tony Craig. This is F1 Grandstand, and this is your very late watch along for FP1. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't do that. I have just my second alarm went off, my emergency alarm. Oh my gosh! So I set my alarm. Truthfully, I set my alarm, okay? And I'm thinking, no problem. I had a little 2-hour nap. And then I don't remember what happened until 10 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. I nearly missed it all. But I'm here. And I'm really glad I am. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. How are we all doing, chat? But we've got everything we need. We've got everything. We have data, tracks working, new graphic. Everything's good. We get to see Jack Crawford out in FP1. I know, Sulu. I know. I'm so sorry. I'll be up. Kev, don't worry. I'll be up in a minute. Oh my gosh. So we did the stream 7:30 to 8:30, and then I had to do a load of work. And then I got to about 10 o'clock, I want to say. And I said, oh, I will just have 2 hours. I will just have a couple of hours sleep. Oh my gosh. And then I slept right through. 2 alarms. So sorry. But everything's working. Data's working. Track's working. Everyone's in there. F1 Fanatics in there. But chat, we're all in. So you can all tell me off in the chat, and you'd be right to do so. Oh my gosh, I've seen there was a good night's in there. Sulo's in there. Alan, Kareen, Flatlander, yes. Fummy Scott, Random Bampot's in there. Kev's in there. Jim's in there. Brilliant. F1 Fanatics in there. Yes, everyone's in there. I know. Yeah. Random Bampot says it's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game. That small sleep. I know. Oh my gosh. So Sula says, understandable, Tony. I once almost skipped a tuition because I had too much work. I only got 1 hour sleep. So Kev did the same thing. He had a little nap. Oh my gosh. Luckily, because I'm quite anal about this stuff, I actually set 2 alarms. I thought, just in case I sleep through 1 alarm, I'll make sure my next alarm gets me up. So yeah, I'm so glad I've not missed it. Hang on, bear me 2 seconds. My focus is a bit terrible. In my rush, my focus is a bit awful. Bear with me. I'm going to sort that out. Here we go. That should be better. That should be better. Not that you want to see me in focus right now, because look at my hair. There's no hiding it. There is no hiding it. The nap. It's the nap that got me. It finished me off. Okay. Head in gear. Get excited. It's Japan, Suzuka. It's FP1, and I am excited for it. Jack Crawford, we get to see him for the first time in the modern Aston Martin car. I'm actually quite... Could you imagine if Jack Crawford ends up putting like a quick lap in the Aston Martin Honda Power Unit? An absolute bag of spanners. We all know that to be the case. So yeah, can we imagine if Jack Crawford actually puts a stonkingly fast lap in it? Oh, James Tugger, F1 race in the USA for a race or two since they are not racing for a while. That's good. That's got to suck. Well, it's all good for NASCAR to watch. Yeah, do you know what? If you're watching in America, these times, this is brilliant. I mean, honestly, I have it quite easy. There's only maybe 4 races a year that are in the middle of the night for me. So after this, and then we've got the 4 or 5 week break until Miami, and that's a great time for me. It's on, it's sort of like, it's like 9 p.m. evening time. What a great time to be doing a watch along. 9 p.m. You know, you're relaxed. It's, you know, glass of wine, a little beer, watch the Grand Prix. Oh, it's going to be awesome. But I'd never not show up for you, by the way. No matter what happens, I will never not be here. I might be late due to oversleeping, but I will never not show up. Kev, I was looking at my alarm confused, couldn't work out what it was for a moment. Yeah, that's the worst. Here's the thing though, because I set 2 alarms. Here's the thing, I don't remember the first alarm going off. Yes! Karaoke Zone, hello from Miami, baby. Get in the chat. That's a great idea, actually. Tell me where you're watching from, wherever you are in the world right now. 10:30 p.m. there in Miami. Yeah, what a great time to be watching the Grand Prix. 10:30 p.m. is brilliant. Evening. So I also, by the way, I should just say what we've got going on the screen. Loving the headgear the fans have got. Oh, by the way, all the cars are out in pit lane already. So let me just tell you what's going on. We've got the track down below me. You will see all cars out on track when they are out on track. To the right of your screen, you have got all of the drivers. Then you have what tyres they're on, laps, their last lap time, their best lap time. You've also got the gap between first and whichever car. You've then got sectors 1, 2, and 3. Those sectors 1, 2, or 3 are broken down into mini sectors. Now, all those mini sectors are color coded. When you see purple in those mini sectors, that means that driver has gone fastest of all. When you see green in those mini sectors, it means that driver has done his personal best. When you see yellow in those mini sectors, it means no improvement for that driver, just no improvement than the lap before. Where you see the blue mini sector, you will see that means it's an out lap from the pits. Or if you see the blue mini sectors on sector 3, it is an in lap to the pits. Yeah, Brian. Oh, it's my friend in Jamaica. Wagwan, Brian. Hope you're having a good time over there. You're about to go to bed, Brian. No. You've got to get up, buddy. I've just got rolled out of bed. Just got up after my 2 hour nap. So we're going to get to see the Macarena wing as well. I'll just see Corinne talking about it. So what can we expect this weekend? Well, Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton's on telly right now. They should be running the Macarena wing this weekend. The version 3.0. Slightly faster actuators. I can't tell if they are, though. I'm looking for that wing movement. So everyone's just on their outlet. You can see all the cars out on track right now. Jaman says, did you hear why Yuki Tsunoda did not get the FP1 drive in the Racing Bull? It was reported in Feb article he was to drive. Oh, why did he? I've got no idea. Why did he not? Have they said why he's not got it? You would think if he was going to get an FP1 drive, it's going to be at Suzuka. Yeah, Brian says good. Oh, Brian's in the UK. Oh, brilliant. So I'm so glad you stayed up, Brian. But born and raised in Jamaica. I got you. So you're the same as me, buddy. It's like it is actually for you right now. It's 2:30 in the morning. I understand. We're on the same page, Brian. Stay up with me. And then we're back again at 5:30 for FP2. And then tomorrow night we get to the business end where we do FP3 and we do qualifying. And then, of course, Sunday morning at, I want to say 5:30 again, is the Grand Prix. Air Tank says another podium for Lewis. I've got Lewis down as a P2. I think, right, my predictions are P5, Behrman, P4, Piastri. P3, Leclerc. P2, Hamilton. P1, Antonelli. Those are my predictions for this week's Grand Prix. I think George Russell's going to have some sort of incident. Yeah, no Macarena wing on that Ferrari of Hamilton's, though, at the moment. FP1, no Macarena wing. Ticka, 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 ticka. Hey, Macarena. Oh, Kev's working at 6. Are you going right through, Kev? Are you nocturnal tonight? Is this you going on all the way through the night? Because this finishes in what? This is another hour of this until 3:30. Yeah, no Macarena, no witch oak. Nope, no Macarena wing. Jim's gone random. Now, Jim, everyone should say to Jim, what are you thinking? Jim thinks that Max Verstappen has got a chance of getting P1 this weekend. I think there's more chance of Lance Stroll finishing the Grand Prix. I don't think that's very likely. Damn it, no, I had 3 hours sleep. Well, then we'll go through. Oh, so Kev's going to do what I like to call a smash and grab when it comes to sleep. Kev's going to do, it's like a splash and dash. Do you remember when Formula 1 used to have refueling? And the car's running low on fuel, and the two or three laps left, and the car would come into the pit stop for a splash and dash, a quick splash of those massive fuel holes for like just a lap's worth of fuel, then out straight away. That's the equivalent of Kev's sleep tonight. He's having a splash and dash, and then off to work. I thought I was having a splash and dash, a little bit of sleep tonight, and unfortunately, yeah, it turned into a full refuel. Air Tank says, big fan of your podcast, Tony. We hear you all the way from New York. Oh, brilliant. Yes, Air Tank. So glad you're with me on this. Thank you. Great to have you as part of the community. I'm really grateful. Very, very pleased. Well, right now, let's have a look at the first 10 minutes of FP1. Let's have a look at the scores on the board. So Piastri currently with the fastest time with a 1:34.5. Verstappen's up there P2, Hadjar P3. Hadjar half a second slower than Piastri. Russell goes P1 to be expected with the first in the 1:33s or 1:30.33. So we've got Russell, Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar, Leclerc P5, Antonelli P6. Antonelli's my pick for winning this whole damn thing this weekend. Carlos Sainz P7, Hamilton P8, Gasly P9, Arvid Lindblad P10, Behrman P11, Lawson P12, Cole Pinto P13. Then you've got the Cadillacs of Bottas and Perez. Listen, if you're a Cadillac fan, you need to just bear with your team for a little while. Cadillac doing big things. I know it doesn't look like it, but they're doing very big things to be where they are at the moment, out on track, to be competing, to be within 107%, and committed. More upgrades coming this weekend, so I hope to see a further improvement. They were running, 2.5 seconds slower per lap than the top teams in Shanghai. If they've closed that gap by any amount between the last Grand Prix and this one, from China to Japan, well, it's good news. If they keep taking out, half a second a lap with their improvements, you got to remember, Cadillac had to lock in a chassis in a car so early in order to even compete that they had to lock in a basic car that would pass homologation, and now they're doing all of the aggressive upgrades to try and improve that car and find pace. It's incredible what they're doing. Bear with them for this season. They have lofty ambitions of scoring points by the end of the season. Even Perez was saying about scoring points before the summer break. So bear with them. You're in a good place if you're a Cadillac fan. See where they are by the end of the season. So Kev giving us some good insight here. So Kev says, I think last year was the 128s. Wonder how much slower this year it will be. Sulu says, poll lap predictions. I predict 131.9 or 131.7. Yeah, I would say you're in the, I think 131's coming out into FP1 right now. Hard tyre 133. It's got to be 131s. Last year we were 129s. So 2 seconds. Yeah, we're not going to get one. We're not going to get a sub 130. Could we get a sub 131? No. No. I'm going to say. My pole prediction. We're getting this early in FP1 where I think pole's going to be. I'm going to say 131. Okay. I'm going to go with. I'm going to write it down so I don't cheat. 131.24 is my pole prediction. I'm going 131.24 as my pole prediction. Oh, Sula says 25 was a one. That's too far. Hang on. I need to clarify Sulu's data. Let me just retract my pole position guess. So what was pole position last year? Pole position. And then let's work this out because I may have been far too. Right, okay. So 25 was 126.9, so into 127s. We will get a sub 130 then. I'm gonna go with. There's 120. It's gonna be sub 130. I'm gonna go sub 130s. I'm gonna go with 129. I'm gonna go to 129.24. Okay, that's locked in. I think. Oh, they have slowed the cars down though by 1 mega, but they've got rid of 1 megajoule of power, haven't they? I forgot. Because don't forget, the FIA have launched a new rule for Japan only for qualifying, because of the super clipping issue and because the energy battery management, etc., etc., etc. They have reduced the amount of power available in qualifying from 9 megajoules of harvesting from 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules, which will affect lap time. It's not going to make the cars quicker. It's actually going to slow the cars down, and it is going to try and help with some of the issues regarding the battery management. Oh, how much will it slow it down? 1 megajoule. Can we still get a sub 130? Oh, I'm not. Maybe I'm right. Yeah, I'm staying with it because of the. I'm going to go 130. I'm splitting the difference. You're asking me for a prediction. I'm taking this very seriously. Pole position is going to be 130.24. Locked and loaded. That's my bet. That is my bet. Kevin Toll says 139.43. Can't be that slow, surely. Jim's going 130.018. All right. So I've gone 130.24. So I think 130s, considering what the FIA have done to reduce the amount of harvesting from 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules. Yeah, Jeremy says TC, have a beer. Oh my God. I would have done if I'd have stayed up. I would have had a beer. I'd be a bit tipsy by now. I had a nap instead. Air Tank says, are we going to see good overtakes this race? Yes, we are. 100% Air Tank. Do you remember when, if you were watching the watch-alongs last 2 weeks ago when we were doing Shanghai, the racing was fantastic. The Ferraris, how exciting was it? Back and forth, and of course when the Ferraris were racing Mercedes for the first 10 laps as well, and then obviously when you throw a safety car into the mix, bunching the field back up, yeah, I think there's going to be loads of overtakes. And ignore the naysayers about the overtakes, which say it's artificial. It isn't. If the overtake happens at the wrong point on the track, you could say yes, that point maybe that's artificial, but there was nothing artificial about the way that Hamilton and Leclerc were wheel to wheel and racing in Shanghai. There was nothing artificial about that. It was great. Stroll's time. Yeah. Let's have a look. What's happening with... Oh, gosh. Yeah, Lance Stroll currently 10 seconds off the pace. Where's Crawford? Crawford yet to complete a lap in the Aston Martin. That's really some of the information I wanted to see during FP1. Leclerc goes fastest. Yes, he does. 132.2. Russell, very close actually. Less is 100th behind Leclerc. Then we've got Piastri, who is in the McLaren, who's half a second behind Leclerc's pace. But as you can see from Piastri's sector times, he's on a fast lap for him. Green mini sectors for him, meaning personal bests. Antonelli, again on a very fast sector one. Personal best and a purple mini sector for Antonelli. So it looks like Antonelli on a very good lap. Excuse me. I did not get time to go to the kitchen. I went straight into the studio. Otherwise, I would have a glass for my water. Carrie Cryson, I don't like the super clipping in the least. Anti-racing. However, we weren't saying science brilliance with DRS trailing was artificial and DRS was also artificial. Right, let's talk about it. DRS. Let's talk about that. We've had to put up with DRS trains. And it was awful. It got to the point where everyone got DRS at the same time. So you're just watching all the cars in a succession. Everyone getting DRS at the same point. No overtaking was getting done. It was awful. And we've had to put up with that for years. And then we had sprint races where, obviously, because of limited run, it's only like, call it 20 laps, give or take, depending on the circuit. No pit stops, obviously. And it was just where you qualified. Pretty much was where you finished. And that's just not entertaining. Like, for the first time, really, Shanghai, the sprint race was great fun. Really exciting. Yes, Reinhardt. Yes, watching from South Carolina. Love that. Welcome to the stream. Reese Cup. Yeah, DRS says, yeah, DRS trains suck. DRS trains suck. They did, didn't they? And so we can't have it all ways. I would say, like, I didn't want batteries in Formula One. I still don't want batteries in Formula One, but I'm enjoying the racing. And I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. As a fan, as a spectator, some fans say they can't get out of that little voice in their head going, it's artificial. The drivers aren't running to the grip limit. It's that battery management, and that little goes round and round in their head like a robot, and it means they can't just sit and enjoy the racing. But if you were just turning on the television 2 weeks ago, and you saw the Ferrari of Leclerc and Hamilton racing wheel to wheel for lap after lap after lap, some brilliant, clean, aggressive racing. It was brilliant. So I'm keen to see what it's like in Suzuka because I love this track. And the 130R, what a corner. What a corner. And they've given them straight mode for that. So it'll be interesting to see what the cars are like through the 130R. Jaman says, wow, the Cadillacs are more than 3 seconds off the pace. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's not an improvement. They're going to need to find a bit of pace. I think in Shanghai, the Cadillacs were around 2.5 seconds a lap off. So, look, it is FP1. I'm expecting all teams to be finding how to optimize their setups for Suzuka. But Leclerc out in front in the moment, just ahead of George Russell. How's Hamilton doing? Hamilton's out on the hard tyre. Leclerc's on the hard tyre. Russell's on the hard tyre. Antonelli's on the hard tyre. Expect all of these guys to improve times, whether or not it's softer compounds. Piastri's out there on the medium. And as you can see, there's some green mini sectors for Piastri on this lap. So there will be an improved time for Piastri. That's not good. We're not quite getting the fastest time on here. Hang on. I'm just going to do a very quick readjust. We're missing the top speeds, aren't we? Here we go. Bear with me. I'm just adjusting the space on the screen for your data. We want to get the top speeds in. Okay. Okay. So what we've got on the screen is that we've got all 22 drivers. We've got all the tyre compounds that they're on. The laps completed, their last lap time, their best lap time, the gap between first and everybody else. Then you've got sectors 1, 2, and 3, colour-coded. Then you've got what gear each driver is in at any one time. Then you've got the RPMs that engine for each driver is doing. Keep an eye on those RPMs. Keep an eye on those. They should be getting up to about 12,500 RPM. And then you've got in kilometers per hour the speed that car is doing. And you can compare actually. So when you see the car on the minimap down here, you can take a quick look at the RPM and the gear that the revs that the engines are doing. So you can see which guys are going down to first gear, where you see the Ferraris which guys are going down to first gear to help with the recharging of their batteries. But you've got all the data you could possibly want. Reinhardt, thank you so much for your super chat, buddy. Do you expect the FIA to make more tweaks to the new regulations? Right. It's hot topic, this, Reinhardt, and a very good question. Thank you so much. Short answer is yes, I do. I do. So I watched, before I fell asleep, I caught up again with some of the interviews from the drivers going into FP1. And Oliver Bearman, not just Ollie Bearman, but Ollie Bearman spoke the most on it. He was saying about the tweak for this weekend for qualifying. That Ollie Bearman and other drivers were basically saying, yes, they've made an adjustment in qualifying where they have, reduced the energy harvesting from 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules. And his words were, he goes, yeah, but basically they've slowed us down. Will it help? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. And then he goes on to say, I do feel there would have been a better way to achieve what they want to achieve without slowing the cars down. And what he said was the harvesting, if they could harvest 350 kilowatts instead of 250 kilowatts under super clipping, that would have solved the same problem. But it would have meant that the cars would still be able to not lose any performance or any speed. So the drivers, I don't think, are 100% happy. So this one change in the regulation we see today in qualifying is because all the drivers are in agreement that qualifying should be about a driver getting an optimum lap time in at the grip limit rather than being hamstrung because of the battery management issue. I think that will become the first major regulation change. I think they will improve qualifying. What they're doing today feels like an experiment. When I say today, this weekend, feels like an experiment to see if it works. If the reduction in harvesting from 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules works, maybe they'll roll that out across the rest of the season. If the drivers are still not happy, maybe they will go with what Ollie Bearman was saying is about how much charge they can regenerate through super clipping. So that's the first thing. Now, when it comes to the race, will there be regulation changes? I believe there'll be tweaks. I don't see a change coming. That means that the battery management won't be a factor in Formula One. I think the battery management part of what they've got right now is going to stay. I don't think they're going to say to the teams, all right, let's increase the amount of power available. Let's increase the amount of fuel flow so we don't see any super clipping during races. I don't think they're going to do that. They might tweak it a little bit. I think it depends on the pushback. The problem that the drivers have got who don't like it is that the fan base, from what I can tell, are really quite torn. When they first spoke about batteries in Formula One and what they were doing this year, I would say 95% of the fans said, hell no, we don't want batteries in Formula One. We don't want battery management. Oh, hell no, definitely not. 99% said, oh, this is going to be terrible. Yet there's a few that I think since we've seen the racing, since the start of the season, there's a lot of people who have gone, still don't want batteries, but the racing was good. The actual racing was better in a lot of ways than I've seen for a long time. And I think now we've got to 50% of the fans as actually, when you could turn that part of the brain off, actually really enjoyed the racing. So they've got this issue now. It's a balancing act. It's going to be tricky to work it out. But the FIA will be looking at fan reaction. And so far, the FIA are reporting that fan reaction has been very, very good. That's what I think. Brian says, pushing the boundaries. Yes, that's why old F1 heads like me still here. But what I see from F1 now is more video game console than pushing the boundaries. That's why I save in judgment until mid-season. So Brian, my Jamaican friend, I'm exactly the same. I am reserving judgment. I want to give it time. I'm trying to be honest in the moment about what I've seen. I've enjoyed the racing. I can't take that away. I need to see how these regs play out for the next... Let's give it till at least the mid-season break. Let's get like 10 races down. Let's see. Let's see. Kev says, I'm on the fuel is carbon neutral or carbon negative, so why the electric? I'd like to see racing this good with a naturally aspirated V8 is what I'd like. Reinhardt says, I really feel they didn't do their due diligence in some areas when it comes to the new regs. I think because this regulation cycle has been the biggest I've ever seen since I've been watching Formula One. You know, normally on a new regulation cycle, probably 30% of the car from the previous year is 30 to 40% of the car is still usable, and then 60% is new. I think this year, 10% of the previous car is usable and 90% is new. And that's a huge undertaking for all the teams in Formula One. I'm not excusing it. And the engineers are very, very clever. Even if the regulations are not great, the brilliant engineers in Formula One will improve the cars to the point where they will find solutions that will solve some of these problems in Formula One that the FIA hadn't even anticipated. That's what I think. And yeah, Jeremy, unfortunately, politics will always drive this. How much money's coming in? How many fans have we got? But sometimes we have to embrace new things and give it a chance. It can be things can change. They do have some tools in the FIA's toolbox to tweak things, but so far I have to say I am not unhappy with the racing. Few quick updates. So 32 minutes left. The Mercedes on the soft tyre, of course, now out near at the top of your timings. Russell with a 1:31.7. Oh gosh, so my pole lap time guess of 1:30.24. It's a long way. So they've got to find a lot of time to get down to my pole prediction. Antonelli with a 1:32. Leclerc still in the mix, but obviously that Leclerc was on the hard tyre. Let's see what he can do on the softs. So you expect the Mercedes on the softs to be about, half a second ahead faster than anyone on the mediums or hards, roughly. Piastri P4 on the medium. Hadjar P5. Lindblad. So Hadjar on the soft tyre, 1 second slower than Mercedes. And that's Hadjar on the softs. Oh no, he's on his outlap. Sorry, he's on his outlap on the softs. Let's see what Hadjar can do. Verstappen's out on the softs right now. On a lap, his personal best. You can see all the green mini sectors for Max Verstappen in sector 1. That means that's Max's. They are personal best mini sectors, as you'd expect. He's out on the soft tyre. Hulkenberg up there in P8 on the softs, 1.3 seconds slower than Russell. Russell, he's on a lap right now. You can see the purple mini sectors. This is going to be a quicker lap for Russell. So, how's Jack Crawford, the rookie, doing? Has he put a lap on? No, still. So Jack Crawford's out. He's not even completed a lap yet. This is Jack Crawford's chance to be out in the Aston Martin for FP1. Must be horrible. If you're Fernando Alonso, okay, he does have a valid excuse of why he wasn't around for media day yesterday. The birth of his child. But I think the reason why Fernando Alonso is delighted to not be doing FP1 is because of the vibration issues. And we're not seeing it yet. Stroll 5 seconds off the pace. This is Honda's home Grand Prix. Honda's home Grand Prix. They said they were bringing some solutions to the vibration issues to that AMR 26. Not great. I mean, even with the vibration issues, at least they were within 3 seconds. And don't forget, we have the 107% rule. So in qualifying tomorrow night, well, if Aston Martin in Q1 are not within 107% of the time, the fastest time in Q1, it means they don't qualify for the Grand Prix at all. They don't get to race. Oh, Airtank says, if Norris can't go, will McLaren pull Oscar again? Oh, I did some digging. It was on last night's show, that Airtank. So basically, the problems with the McLarens in Shanghai were electrical faults. Both cars had 2 different electrical faults. The electrical fault was so bad with Lando Norris's car that his battery, which had only done one race, was fried. The battery was damaged. And in Formula 1, it's like engines. You're only allowed 2 new batteries. You're allowed to use 2 batteries per season. Apart from this season, which is the first year of the regulation cycle, where you're allowed to use 3 batteries. So Lando Norris already used up one of his season-long batteries because of that. And Oscar Piastri had a different electrical fault. And Mercedes high-performance power units, which are obviously McLaren's partner, managed to save Oscar's battery, but they couldn't save Lando Norris's battery. Bad news, man. So bad. So McLaren, even though they say, well, we're probably the 3rd best team. Well, yeah, on pace, you're probably the 3rd best team. But on reliability, you're way down the grid. You're well down. Just because you're the 3rd quickest team, McLaren, you're definitely not. That reliability issue is a real problem. I mean, okay, one of the reliability issues for Oscar Piastri was on the formation lap in Melbourne, he put the car in the wall, right? So that probably isn't a McLaren problem, it's an Oscar problem. But then for Oscar Piastri to miss the first 2 Grand Prix and watch them from the garage, that's obviously, that doesn't happen very often. So Racing Bull's just gone wide there of Liam Lawson. Antonelli currently fastest in FP1. Russell won't like that. And like I said, Kimi Antonelli, absolutely on par for pace with George Russell at the moment. So Kimi Antonelli's fastest of all so far with a 1:31.6. Now Russell, Russell 2/100ths quicker than Antonelli. Leclerc on the softs needs to find a little bit of pace here. Half a second off the pace in the Ferrari. But if you listen to Lewis Hamilton, that's where he believes they are. But actually, if this represents qualifying, the Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton gave us these numbers. He said in qualifying we are around 0.8 slower than the Mercedes. So if Ferrari end up being 0.5 slower than Mercedes, that means that Ferrari's found 0.3 in the gap between China and Japan, which is very good. Because their race pace is good, we might that might extrapolate into the race pace, and they may have gained a couple of tenths there as well. So let's see. It's all about small gains, right? Everyone's bringing upgrades. Everyone's trying to find 1 or 2 tenths, and larger gains if you're further down the field. But near the top, you're trying to gain just 1 or 2 tenths. Jeremy says, I mean, McLaren, McLaren's a hot topic. I think McLaren have got multiple issues. They've got a gearbox problem where all the gearbox gear ratios have been submitted. McLaren chose to make their own gearbox, even though they're being... Oh, Alexander Albon just going off track in the Williams. How are Williams doing? Have they got... Oh, yeah, still 2 seconds off the pace. Yeah, Williams still having all sorts of problems, but we'll come to Williams in just a second. So McLaren chose to build their own gearbox. Mercedes are supplying their power unit. It's the first year of a brand new regulation cycle with new power units. Williams and Alpine chose to go with the Mercedes gearbox, which seems like it might be the sensible option as a customer team of Mercedes on a new regulation cycle. But McLaren said, no, we don't want your gearbox, Mercedes. We can do it better. Which, to be fair, last year, they had a great gearbox. They did do it better. But you're coming into a brand new regulation cycle. You're not building the engine, Mercedes are. And to build a gearbox for the first time when you're not building the engine at the same time, I think was ambitious. And I think I think McLaren are struggling with it. So what's McLaren's hope? If they've got it wrong with their gearbox, every team have got a joker they can play this season to do an upgrade, really, to change the ratios of those gears before. Otherwise, they'd be locked in all season. McLaren can use their joker at some point in this season to redesign, if they need to, their gearbox and change their gear ratios. I think they may need to, because their gearbox does not look good. It looks like it's a problem. One of their problems. Yeah, air tank. I just saw Williams going off. Now, if we want to talk about the Williams problems, we will be here all day. Overweight. Zero innovation with regards to design and aerodynamics, in my opinion. Cannot extract power from the power unit. They went with a pull rod suspension setup when everyone else knows push rod is the way forward. There's so many issues and weird choices from that Williams. It is not good. Not good at all. Crawford out on track, though. Jack Crawford, FP1, 22 minutes left. Let's see what old Jack Crawford, or young Jack Crawford, can do. Can he put a time? No. 5.5 seconds off the pace. Similar to Lance Stroll. So both of the Aston Martins of Stroll and Crawford over 5 seconds off the pace. Crazy. Makes Cadillac right now looking like 2.5 seconds off the pace for Perez and Bottas. Looking pretty good. Hulkenberg up there, P7, just 1 second off the pace in the Audi. We have to talk about Audi. Every time I see the Audi out on track this season, I'm just so impressed. George Russell moaning about Perez going slowly on the racing line in FP1. George Russell calling him an idiot. And then he said, who was that idiot on that basically I nearly crashed into? And then his race engineer said, Perez. And then George Russell said, oh, I knew it, basically. Of course it's Perez. I don't think Perez was trying to mess up George Russell on purpose. Yes, Flatlander had me back out on the softs. It looks like, if you look at the data right now, he's on a good lap as well. I mean, we should talk about Pierre Gasly as well, actually. Gasly and the Alpine and Colapinto, both were running very well in Shanghai. Alpine seem to have improved a great deal from their 25 car. And Gasly looking good for points this weekend. One of you, I can't remember who it was, that predicted Gasly for P5. And I thought, do you know what? Not a bad shout. I think for P5 this weekend, I think the contenders are Gasly, Behrman, maybe Piastri, Norris, possibly down in P5. I don't think Lawson's up there. Maybe the Hulkenberg. You've got a few. You've got a few contenders. I was impressed with Lindblad though at Melbourne. I thought he was brilliant. Yeah, Cario Crazzoni, Kaori Corazon, Pierre doing his thing. Exactly, he is doing his thing. Like Pierre goes under the radar. Pierre Gasly is one of my most underrated drivers, without a doubt. He's a good driver. He truly is a good driver. He was probably my most underrated driver on the grid last season. Reinhardt says, not a huge Fernando Alonso fan. Nothing against him, but I feel so bad for him and what's going on at Aston Martin. It's an embarrassment, plain and simple. Well, you deliver it. You're Lawrence Stroll and you deliver what arguably is a dream team. If you had the top trumps of Formula One staff and engineers, and you were picking your team of this top trumps, most people would be Newey, first one. Cardill's a good pick. You've got Andy Cowell on power units. And then you got the power unit manufacturers' top trumps. A lot of people would choose Honda. I would have picked Honda. You've got to say that on paper, it's a hell of a team. And yeah, they are not living up to the expectation of that team that Lawrence Stroll has put together. Fernando Alonso as well, you've got a good driver there as well. He's going to deliver if you give him a car. Even now, 45 years old, he's definitely going to deliver if you give him a car. So yeah, I do think there's a long way to go. I was hoping that we'd see Aston Martin have some rapid improvement. But where Honda power units at and where things currently are, if I had to give a timeline for Honda to be competitive, even at the midpoint of the season, I'm not even sure they're going to score a point between now and the summer break. And that's not the spring break, which is happening after this weekend. No, the summer break. I don't think Aston Martin are going to be anywhere close to even scoring points, which is not where I expect them to be. Kaori, yeah, I got it right. Oh, brilliant. Kaori, thank you. I got it right. Thank you. It's a tricky one for me. I do need you sometimes to write it phonetically in the chat so I get it right. Thank you. Yeah, Flatland says Perez in the way again. I know George Russell was literally moaning about it on his team radio. So Reinhardt says, I agree. You think you got Adrian Newey, you would think that team would be off to the races like they would be in contention, and they haven't even finished a race. Exactly. They've literally... Lawrence Stroll couldn't have put together a better team. And then when Wheatley joins as team principal, I think really he's more of a... team principal's probably flatters him. He's going to be basically trackside manager. He's going to run all the operations from trackside, and he's going to deal with the media-facing stuff, obviously some of the sponsor stuff as well. And I think Wheatley's going to be a good addition. But Lawrence Stroll's doing everything right. He's throwing his money in the right directions, I think. Could be just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Jaman says, with Aston Martin being so slow this year, maybe Crawford will get to sign with Cadillac for the reserve driver next year. Well, Crawford, I think, is already in the loop. You've got Colton Herta, who was... Dan Towris basically said to Colton Herta, yeah, you're competitive in IndyCar, but you need to go and get your super license points. If you're serious about driving in Formula One, you need to leave IndyCar, where you are a bit of a legend. You know, he's had some amazing results in IndyCar, but you need to go down to F2 and race in F2. Because that way you can, because the F2 circus follows the Formula One circus, and they get to race on all the Formula One tracks, and you get your super license points if you do well. You'll get your 40 super license points. So Colton Herta's gone, all right, I'll race in F2. I'm serious about my chance in F1. And Colton Herta seems to be the guy that Cadillac are really behind. That's driver number one for the All-American Cadillac team in a couple of years' time. And Jack Crawford is the second driver for that Cadillac team. I think that's what they want. And in 2 years, you're going to see a far stronger Cadillac than you've got now. So that all the timings could work out perfectly. Use Bottas and Perez to develop the team, develop the car. And then when they've leveled up, by that point, they've groomed their American drivers that they would like in the car, and hopefully they're quick enough to take those seats. But I think you're right. Jack Crawford to Cadillac, I think, is going to happen. Unless Jack Crawford proves himself to be super, super quick and he gets an offer for even an even better team. But Cadillac just need to get to that midfield, don't they? If Cadillac get to that midfield by that time that Crawford if he proves himself to be a great driver. Yeah, Jeremy says Caddy is loyal to Colton. Yeah, he's not an IndyCar legend, but he won. He was when I say legend, he won. Wasn't he the youngest ever driver to win the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500? Or the Indy 500 or something. I don't follow IndyCar, so I'm not sure exactly what he won. But he won something, didn't he? When he was 18, and he was like Rookie of the Year, and he had some really big results. No, it wasn't. Was that not Colton Herta? Yeah, I should watch some more IndyCar. Kaori. But someone remind me, someone can Google that for me. I thought didn't Colton Herta, didn't he do something amazing? He's tied to Andretti. Yeah. But Colton Herta, I thought he had some real feather in his cap in IndyCar. No, he didn't. I always thought Colton had done something good. Well, there you go. Shows what I know about F1 IndyCar drivers. Kiori says he's decent, but nothing stellar. Well, winning F2 is not easy. Not that level. So maybe that's why Dan Tower has said to him, go and prove yourself in F2. Because what is he, 26 years old? Or 25 or 26 years old? Oh, Sula says Ferrari's oversteer everywhere. At the moment, so we've got Leclerc and Hamilton, P4 and P5 at the moment, with 12 minutes left. Let me give you a quick update, actually. So Reinhardt says IndyCar is really fun to watch. I'm still more of an F1 fan, but I could watch either. We don't get a lot of IndyCar footage, coverage in the UK, you know. We don't get a lot of it. I'll have to get it on a stream somewhere. I'll have to get, yeah. I'll probably get addicted. And then we'll have IndyCar Grandstand, our next channel. McLaren getting in the mix, yeah, with Piastri. And here's the thing I'm going to say about Piastri. Piastri, even though he's not started a Grand Prix this season, throughout the 2 Grand Prix race weekends, Melbourne and Shanghai, Piastri was, I would say, the better of the 2 McLaren drivers. I think Norris just picked Piastri in qualifying, though. But Jeremy says Colton tested a McLaren. So let me give you a rundown. Right now, Russell at the top with a 131.6. God, we've all been doing qualifying predictions for tomorrow night, and we'll do this for FP2 as well. FP1 and FP2. We'll keep this conversation going. So my qualifying prediction for qualifying pole lap time prediction was 1:30.24. I don't think we're going to get down to that. Well, there's no way we're getting 1.5 seconds off these times. So George Russell, P1, 131.6, just 200ths behind him, Antonelli. They are so close, these 2 drivers, Russell and Antonelli. Piastri, 2/10 slower than Russell, down in P3. Leclerc and Hamilton very close to each other, just 1/10 separating the 2 Ferraris. Leclerc just has the edge at the moment. Norris P6. He won't be happy to be half a second slower than his teammate. Verstappen P7. Lawson P8. Ocon P9. Lindblad P10. So we've got 1 second separating first to 10th. Very close then between Ocon, Lindblad. Then we've got Bortoletto and Hülkenberg, the Audis. That midfield section, actually, there's only, if you look how close they are grouped, you're only talking within 3/10. P8 to P12. So that midfield, far closer than you think. So any one of these guys could be pushing to get through to Q3. Hadjar, P13, Behrman, P14. I'm not seen any pace from Behrman yet today. Ocon, though, P9. He's within a second of Russell's fastest time. Williams, Alpine. They need to show a bit more pace, but it is only FP1. Gasly, who's been fantastic, really, start this season. Scored points, both Grand Prix for Alpine. Colapinto actually was running very nicely indeed in Shanghai until he connected with Ocon, which cost Colapinto at least a couple of more extra points. And then we've got the Williams, just a shit show. Carlos Sainz down in 17th, Albon P18, within 2 seconds of Russell, but that's still a massive mountain to climb for them. Then we've got the Cadillacs, 2.5 seconds off the pace, and Aston Martin, 5 seconds off the pace. Crawford faster than Stroll. What a mess. Yes, Glazed. Turned out to be a very predictable season in the end. Not a big fan of it. Well, I think the thing is, Glazed, things will change. I'm not saying everyone's going to suddenly catch Mercedes. They are way out in front. But do I think McLaren will improve their car? Yes. Ferrari, there's still improvements to come. Red Bull, I don't know about Red Bull. I would have said in that sentence, I would have normally said, and Red Bull, you can't rule them out. But honestly, Red Bull, I don't know if Red Bull are just on a slippery slide down to mediocrity. I'm not sure Red Bull are going to turn this around. I don't know. Haas have improved an awful lot. It could be that we see Red Bull just fighting with the Haas's and not fighting with Mercedes and Ferrari and McLaren. Could be those 3 teams just pulling away. But then I think Audi are doing great stuff as well. I think Audi are gonna improve. Yeah, exactly, Jeremy. Caddy are only 2 seconds behind. And when you look at Aston Martin with their dream team, 4.5, 5 seconds off the pace. Yeah, Clay, unfortunately, I know what you're saying. It's not just Mercedes, all the teams been. You're talking about the convergence between P1 and P22. Unfortunately, the first 6 to 10 Grand Prix, or even first season, really, of a regulation cycle, it's where we're going to get maximum divergence in time from P1 to P22. It does close up, though, and it does close up fairly rapidly. By the end of the season, we're not going to see P1 to P22 with a 2 second or 4 second gap. No way. They will, that gap will close up considerably. Oh, Alexander Albon. Wow. Alexander Albon's just crashed into Carlos Sainz. No. Perez. Crashed into the Cadillac. What? How does that happen? FP1. Albon crashing into the caddy of Perez. Ah, that's some rookie stuff, that is. In free practice 1, that is not good. Gopendra says Norris for third. I think I haven't got Norris in my top 5. I've got Norris. I've got Piastri as 4th. I mean, that's so bad. I mean, Albon. Oh, Albon connecting with Perez in FP1. What are those guys doing? Kaori says Perez wasn't looking, but Alex, come on, it's FP1. Back out. Yeah, you just have to back up, but back out of the lap. It's practice. You're not in qualifying. You might be trying to put a hot lap in, but Clay said, yeah, Perez impeded George Russell earlier. Look, maybe Perez is a little rusty. He did have a year out of Formula One. I don't know. I do rate Perez. I think Checo's a great driver. Quicker than Bottas at the moment, actually. And Bottas, fresh out of that Mercedes reserve driver role, he was getting good time. He was getting time in the car. Kev says, if they're both on fast laps, then the corner was Perez's. I don't think they were both on a fast lap. I think Perez was not on a fast lap. Just Alex on a fast lap. Drama in FP1. Connection between Sergio Perez and Alexander Albon. Albon's fault by the looks of it. The car will be fixed though. No serious damage. They'll be back out for FP2 in a few hours' time. I'm going to do it again, by the way, guys. I'm going to set 2 alarms because I'm back out at 5:30 a.m. for FP2. Yeah, Jeremy says, yeah, both rusty. Mario said the same. Brian says, if McLaren figure out what Mercedes and Ferrari are doing, I guarantee they're going to triple whatever it is. Well, I think, look, McLaren do have the engineers to cook. McLaren said that they, after the Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai, they said, we think we know how to unlock the performance from the Mercedes power unit. Even though Mercedes were not giving us the data we required, we feel we've worked it out. Well, look at that. Lando Norris is within well, is one just a tenth slower than George Russell. McLaren are showing more pace than the Ferraris. Have they solved their reliability issues? Well, we will find out, won't we? But definitely got a bit more pace out of this McLaren in practice. So the Ferraris will probably be a bit shocked by that. It looks like the McLarens have improved. Kaori says, you're a legend for that, Tony. I'll be asleep at 2 a.m. No! Set your alarm. I had to do it. Set your alarm for free practice too. You'll be fine. Kaori says, I hold my breath for lights out to ensure McLaren start. Exactly. But do you know what? In FP1, from looking at these times in FP1 though, which are right on your screen right now, McLaren do seem to have, they're showing an improvement, aren't they? They are showing an improvement. Is Leclerc on a hot lap? No. Three wide. Leclerc. Wow. Leclerc wants to get a hot lap in for sure. He is side by side, I think, with Pierre Gasly and Norris, 3 wide in free practice. Drivers taking some risks in FP1 today. So Leclerc's gone purple for the first sector. I think he's had to abort the lap though. But he had 2 purple mini sectors out of the sector 1. That was a good move from Leclerc, that actually, in free practice. Wow. So Oscar Piastri, they almost got pushed off the track. Brilliant. Oh, Jeremy says, are Ferrari sandbagging? I don't know. My biggest disappointment from Ferrari in FP1 is I was promised the Macarena wing. I was promised, version 3.0 of the Macarena wing. Why is it not on? Why aren't we seeing it? Maybe we'll see it. So it may be for FP1. Right, listen. We're coming back for FP2 in a couple of hours. Coming back for FP2 in a couple of hours. Will we see Ferrari's Macarena wing? And will we see better pace? I think so. Elizabeth says, I'm at the Suzuka track. What, right now, Elizabeth? You're in Japan. Right now, Elizabeth. What? Jealous. Oh, what amazing. I love the fact you've got F1 Grandstand running whilst you are at Suzuka. Brilliant. Send pictures. What's the atmosphere like there? That's my question to Elizabeth. We've got a roving reporter, F1 Grandstand's roving reporter, Elizabeth Ciatro, if I said that right. Our roving reporter on the ground in Suzuka right now. What can you tell us, Elizabeth? Over to you. What's the atmosphere like? Is it buzzing? We needed some English. It's pretty cool and very. It's pretty quiet so far, I'd say. What's the weather looking like? Do we think it's going to rain? But the vibes are getting better. Cadillac has a halo wing like Ferrari, Kyle says. Yes, Kyle! Kyle's in the chat. Got the halo wing like the Ferrari. Yeah, well, I think now the FIA have ruled Ferrari's halo wing legal. I think we will see more teams playing around with halo wings. Sunny, very sunny, Elizabeth says. A lot hotter than usual, actually. Awesome. It looks great. I mean, weather can be changeable, but I'm expecting a dry race at the moment. Yes, Kev, I will see you tomorrow morning for the business end. For the business end, brother. I'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. Jaman says, on March 24th, 2019, at the age of 18, Herta became the youngest ever winner in IndyCar history by winning the IndyCar Classic at Austin. Not a good oval track driver. So he was the youngest ever winner in IndyCar history by winning the IndyCar Classic in Austin. That's his accolade. That's what I knew. I'd read something about him, which was some sort of accolade for Colton Herta. He had a lot of promise in his early days. Thank you, Jaman. I'm so glad that somebody went and did the Googling for me. So yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown of where we're at, and I'm going to be back, by the way, in a couple of hours. I will be. So Mercedes out on top, obviously. The surprise for me, McLaren locking up that second row, third and fourth. George Russell's got your fastest lap with a 1:31.6. Antonelli with a 1:31.69. Just 200 slower than Russell. Then Norris in the McLaren, just 1/10 really slower than Russell. Piastri less than a tenth behind Norris. So then you've got the Ferraris of Leclerc and Hamilton, a tenth between them. Then you got Verstappen actually putting in his fastest lap, which was 8/10 slower than Russell. So Red Bull is your fourth fastest team. Then we've got Lawson, Ocon, Lindblad, Bortoletto, Hulkenberg. Audi's up there, sixth fastest team, not bad. Behrman, Gasly, Colapinto, Williams, awful, Sainz, Albon, Perez, Bottas, and then of course what we can only be described as a shit show for Aston Martin. No improvements. 4 seconds off the pace for 3.6 seconds off the pace for Lance Stroll. Let's see if they improve for FP2. I'm going to be back in just a couple of hours time. I will double alarm. So I'll try not to be late. I will try not to be late. I'm back on at, I want to say 5:30. 5:30, I believe. I'm just going to double check my... Yeah. Back at 5:30 for FP2 to start, which starts at 6 o'clock. So yes, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for my tardiness. I will be back a little bit later. Thank you to everyone. I'll see you in a couple of hours. Don't go to sleep. And if you do, set an alarm. I'll see you then. Ta-ta.